We are here today to walk you through some of the major improvements we have made around securing your sensitive data, especially around email. I'm Gagan Gulati. I lead the team for what we call as Azure Information Protection, and with me I have George. George is a PM on the Office 365 side. And we want to present to you one of the most interesting projects that we've been working on for the last 6 to 7 months now to secure your sensitive data across your organization. First, some background. In short, there is no shortage on why you want to protect your sensitive data, right? I mean, it's pretty clear high-profile leaks have happened over the last year. That's why we are here at RSA, to get looked at the security solutions that we want to use. There is also no depth or no dearth of privacy and compliance requirements. If you're an organization that focuses on any of your customers who are in the regulatory business or otherwise, you want to make sure that you meet the compliance requirements for the organization. So that's number two. And last but not the least, gone are the days where you had this idea of network perimeter, that if you can secure your network, then hey, I'm good to go. That doesn't work anymore. With the advent of cloud and with the advent of mobile usage, emails and documents that you send actually pass through networks that you don't even know about. And the goal really is for you guys and for us is to secure that data, irrespective of where it's traveling. And that's where we come and help you out. While you want to secure your data and while you keep your data protected wherever your data lives, we also know that if you are working on 100 things in a day, almost 80 or more of those things are actually over email, right? So email collaboration is like the #1 scenario that we all play with. I'm always on email. That's basically where it is. So securing your email is basically the #1 goal where most customers have come to us and told us, hey, if you secure my email, yes, I would worry about my Word, PowerPoint, Excel, my PDFs, and I have all of that data later on. But help me secure my email. And the common scenario we hear our customers talking about is if Sue at company A wants to send a sensitive email to Bob and Jane, who may or may not be in their organization. How do we make sure that this data only goes, or the email only stays with Bob and Jane and with nobody else? There shouldn't be any hacking along the way. These people actually respect the rights I've been sending them. So keep my email safe. So we all know this scenario. We all want to protect our data. We all want to protect our email. But the funny thing is that we all dream of that one scenario where secure email just works, just like simple emails work. If I send an email to somebody, I know it'll reach them. But if I send a secure email to somebody, I want to make sure that secure encrypted email also reaches the other person as good as the simple email was. And that's a dream that we all are after. But the problem is, today, in today's world, it's too complicated. How many of you guys have heard about this technology called IRM or RMS? Have you heard about that? Yeah, there we go. So that's great. We have a technology called IRM. Microsoft has been working on this for many years, with Office 365. And it works great when you're within the organization. So if I want to send you a do not forward email, well, do not forward email it's a term that we use internally. But basically, I send you an email, and I say, hey, don't forward it to anybody. Right? I can say it in writing, red and bold, but I'll much rather apply those rights. And at Microsoft, like we guys, use do not forward email very, very commonly, where I will send an email over to George, and when George opens his email, forward doesn't work. Print doesn't work, right? Just disabled for you because that was my intent of sending him that email, right? That's great within the organization, and that works very, very well across most of our customers. But what do I do when I have to send this email to somebody outside the company? How do I say do not forward, right? It doesn't work that way. So there are technology solutions out there today that help you with this. There is S-MIME, and there is PGP. Yeah, these names are known? OK, so some of these names around S-MIME and PGP are great. But guess what? It's too complicated. Setting up S-MIME, oh man, we had customers coming in and saying, take the certs. I don't want to deal with certs. The certs are killing me. My shoulders are drooping because of managing all of the certs and all the identities I have to go maintain. So that's just #1. #2, no user wants to send different emails or different ways of sending emails to different people when they are inside the organization versus outside the organization. We deal with it at Microsoft too. If I had to send a sensitive email to somebody in the company, I would use what I told you as do not forward. Cool. It's encrypted. I can enforce rights. But if I have to send that sensitive information to somebody outside the company, I have to go first enroll in SMIME or in PGP. And why would I do that? Why is it different? Why can't it be the same? There is no common workflow that we give our customers when they're sending data inside or outside the company. Policies are too restrictive, like I talked about do not forward. Hey, I trust him, I should be more than forward. And then the worst part, that fourth point is actually the killer, which is I send you a protected email, and you on the other side can't open it. Because guess what? You were not using Outlook, or you were using Apple Mail, the direct Apple Mail on your phone, or I'm using web. I want that scenario to work. And the funny thing is, and this has happened to all of us, where I'll send an encrypted email to somebody, and the other person will say, sorry, couldn't open it. Can you decrypt it and send it again? Right? And the whole idea of compliance and security goes down the drain because the scenario just couldn't work end to end. And that's basically where we are today. And we frustrate the owner of the email, and we frustrate the recipient who couldn't open the email, and the next time, we stopped sending secure email. That's what the story is today. You can go to any solution at RSA, and you will hear the same thing. We could not make it work end to end. Sorry, we have some specific scenarios that work. And that doesn't fly in general with our customers. So why are we here today? We're here today because we, in Office 365, and with Azure Information Protection, we're working towards a scenario where we will make secure email work, whether you are sending it to somebody inside the company, whether you're sending it business to business, or whether you're sending it business to consumer, like to somebody at gmail.com or yahoo.com or hotmail.com or anybody else. And we'll make it work when you guys are using Outlook and Office 365. You don't need a SMIME anymore. You don't need a PGP anymore. You don't need a Proofpoint anymore, nothing. If you're using Office 365, if you are a customer of Office 365, then secure email will just work for all of your recipients, just like how normal email works today. That's our goal. That's our promise to you guys as we build these features. Right? That's the number one thing. We're making a lot of investments, and I'm not going to bore you with all the work we're doing here. That's cool. We're going to show you demos, because this is all working right now in some of our preview tenants, and our preview customers are using it. But there are a few things I wanted to mention. If you are an Office 365 user, managed, hybrid, doesn't matter. If you are an Office 365 guy, this is already available to you. We talk about the word complicated, like setting up something is complicated. Here we are talking about zero work. If you're an Office 365 user, send that secure email today. That's what we are enabling. Number one, we are making it easy. The most important point, number three, we are making it easy for recipients to be able to read and respond to these emails. If you are going to send an email tomorrow to anybody in the world, literally anybody, doesn't matter the guys on Google Apps, on Office 365, or using a private email on web and Chrome, doesn't matter. If you're sending an email out to somebody, they should be able to open your secure email that you have been sending user Office 365 tenant. That's our promise. That's what we really want to do. And we are making a lot of adjustments and a lot of work to enable this. So instead of boring you with the technology and the details, we're going to switch to demos, and we're going to show you how this will actually work for you and your customers. With that, I'm just going to hand it over to George to walk through all the demos and everything.
Hi, everybody. I'm George, and I'm a senior program manager on the Office 365 team for information rights management. How many of you folks are familiar with IRM? Can I see a show of hands? Great. So you folks who raised your hands probably know that IRM works really well inside your organization, but it has a couple usability challenges when you're collaborating outside your org. So working together with Goggins' team in the Azure world, we've made some significant improvements that I'm excited to share with you today. First, I'd like to highlight two improvements. First, for all entitled customers, we're going to just turn on IRM and RMS by default at provisioning time for email once we go to general availability. So no configuration required. It's just on. Second, through the power of the cloud and RMS, we're removing the need to establish explicit, complex trust relationships between different Office 365 customers, which is really valuable for business-to-business scenarios. And I'd like to show you one of those in action. Whoops. OK, just a second. Duplicate. Great. Can you folks see that? So in this scenario, I'm Garth Forth, a product manager at Contoso. And I'm in charge of a product that's reached a point where we need to start to announce it outside the world. So I need to reach out to an external consultant, Riley, at a different organization, Woodgrove Media. He's our PR consultant for his feedback on a press release before we announce the product. Now, obviously, we want to protect this from accidental leakage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to protect this with Do Not Forward, and I'm going to hit Send. Next, let's look at the recipient experience for Riley at Woodgrove Media. This is a different organization, but you'll see that the mail just renders natively, just like a normal email. But this email has protection superpowers. You'll see, if your eyes are really good, you'll see it's protected with Do Not Forward permissions, so to mitigate against leakage. And if I double click on the attachment, what you'll see is, you can see, let me bring it up in Word. You should see that the attachment is also protected with Do Not Forward permissions. So for example, Riley does not have the ability to print or forward the message to mitigate against data leaks. So that's our first scenario. And by now, you're probably saying, well, that's great for business-to-business scenarios, but how many of you folks in the audience need to connect with consumers who may not have Office 365 accounts and probably use a popular service like Gmail? How many of you folks need to send secure email to consumers? Can I see a show of hands? Great, great, great. So next, I'd like to show you a couple key improvements for reaching consumers with secure email. First, we're simplifying the sending experience so that senders just need to make one choice to protect a message, regardless of whether they're sending inside the organization or outside the organization. Second, we're focusing and really investing on an improved recipient experience, such that intended recipients can read and respond to protected mails regardless of their email provider or their app of choice. So for those of you who use Outlook, which is RMS aware, the experience will be best. You'll see it seamlessly like I just showed in the business-to-business demo. However, for those of you who can't or choose not to use Outlook, we're going to provide a limited web view that allows recipients to read and respond. And I'd like to show that to you. So in the second scenario, I'm once again going to play the prolific Garth Forth, product manager at Contoso. And I'm going to reach out to one of my consultants. In this scenario, I'm going to reach out to a consultant, Sophia Barbosa, who helps me with different projects to see if she's available for an upcoming product. Once again, I'm going to manually protect this message with Do Not Forward. And if you'll notice, I'm going to send it to Sophia in two different addresses. First, I really want to showcase what the Gmail experience is like. And then also I'm going to send it to her at Yahoo to showcase what the experience would be like for other email providers. So let's send that. And next, take a look at Sophia's Gmail inbox. And you can see that I've received a protected message from Garth Forth. And from this, all Sophia has to do to see this inline in her normal webmail experience is just click here to read the message. So if I click on that, you'll see that we recognize that Sophia is at Google with Gmail. So we recognize that's her address, And we're going to do something a little smart here to allow her to sign in using her Gmail credentials. If she just clicks on sign in with Google, we will leverage Google's OAuth to authenticate that Sophia is who she says she is using her account. And if I just click allow at this OAuth prompt, Sophia can actually see the protected message in line. And if I go to respond to this using this web view, those of you with great eyesight will recognize that forward is not an option here, respecting the do not forward permissions that we protected the message with originally. So that's an example of our new Gmail business to consumer experience. Now, before we leave the business to consumer scenario, I also want to showcase what the recipient experience would be like if, for example, if your consumer is not at Gmail or a Microsoft account, but instead uses a different mail provider. So here's the same message that I sent as Garth to Sophia's Yahoo account. And if I click here to read the message, you'll see, this account happens to have a Microsoft account associated with it, but I don't want to use that. Instead, what I want to do is I want to sign in with a single-use code. So I'm going to go back to Sophia's inbox real quick. And you'll see, after I clicked on that link, it emails me a one-time passcode that I can simply copy and go back to the encrypted message and paste to continue. And you should see the exact same message sent to Sophia's Yahoo account with the same do not forward permissions. And this is how we reach all of the other possible consumer email accounts. This demonstrates the power of encryption while enabling users to be productive. So let's see, go back to this. And if you ask me, it's simply put the best way to send secure email. You don't have to worry about different certificates on clients and replicating them. You just send secure email. So to wrap up, I'd like to encourage all of you folks to swing by our booth, the information protection section over there. Bring your cell phones, and we can send you a copy of a secure email to your own personal account. That way you can open it up, play with it, try it out, and show your colleagues. Second, I'd like to encourage those of you who already have an RMS deployment to begin to migrate to Azure RMS, which is required for all the scenarios and experiences we were just talking about, if you have not already. Next, if you're interested in previewing the stuff that I just demonstrated, I'd like to ask that you complete the survey at this URL to indicate interest in that. And we're starting an invite-only preview program in early March. And based on the feedback from that, we'll proceed to general availability. Next, we want to understand your needs really well as a customer so that we can do a better job of meeting them. So please fill out the survey at this link to help us better understand your needs so that we can meet them in the future. And finally, I'd like to ask you to start protecting more of your email. And with that, I'd like to open it up to questions.
Awesome.
Yes? Come on.
I'm seeing a fair number of ransomware attacks that are using that bring your own identity OAuth kind of come on to say click here to get your secure email. It seems to be that this kind of methodology has become the favorite way of getting people to click.
Yeah.
Is there a way in this that an average customer can do a validation, or that we can use in user training to support a better message about this is a good model of click here for your Office 365 secure email, and this is a bad model for that?
Well, it's a great question, first. The first thing that we're actually doing to mitigate against such kind of attacks is we're going to enable senders to customize the messages themselves and add their own branding. So for example, if you're a financial institution, like an investment firm or a bank, that way you can add your own branding to it so that if they receive a message from you, the consumer can simply associate your brand with that message. And that's the first part of really improving the education.
Yeah, I think that's you made a great point, which is if I receive a message from a bank that I work with and the message continues to be, but the message I receive is familiar, with the same branding, with the same kind of links that I usually do, you'll be much more assured that, hey, that's the right thing to do, versus saying, hey, I receive an email like the one you saw, which may look like more of, hey, this is a ransomware style. So that's number one. The other thing is, the kind of investments we are making in general around email security, and we can walk you through if you come to our booth for information protection, around detonating emails and making sure these emails are actually real. We're making a lot of investments in behind the scenes to make sure that the platform itself is secure. So we will not be able to speak all of what we're doing there, but if you come over, we'll have a great conversation around what we are doing with respect to detonating emails, making sure the emails go to the right places. So those are the two big things we're trying to do, essentially, in this regard.
It's a great question. Other questions?
All right.
Well,
thank you very much.
thank you all.
Thank you. This was fantastic.
Really
Thanks.
appreciate it.